their most recent trophy, their 50th trophy in the Supercoppa Italiana. Happened about a year ago. It happened in Saudi Arabia. It's happening in Saudi Arabia again today. Happens to be that I'm fairly close to Saudi Arabia itself. You guys can see from the backdrops, it's not the Toronto backdrop, it's not the Milan backdrop. I'm actually in India now. A lot of you guys may have seen my tweets and seen maybe what's happening in life right now. It was a fun time in Italy for a few months. But then a few things happened that, dragged me out of there. I had to take care of some family stuff. I had some people that were in the hospital. So I had to get out of there, come to India, take care of business here. And we're going to head back to Toronto soon, get back into the traditional studio before we eventually, again, go back to Italy. So honestly, it's tough to actually do a whole video setup here. So I did set up my live streaming systems. So if you guys, whoever you guys are joining in, I appreciate it big time. Everybody who sent me a message over the past few days about, all the things that are happening. These things happen in life. Your loved ones get hospitalized and all that. Everybody who sent me a message, I really, really appreciate it. But I'm trying to now slowly, wean my way back into creating content. I think it was a bit of a needed break too. I got a couple of weeks off there. We're back to watching Milan play in the Supercoppa, a team that continues to beat the top sides, but once again, just like against Sassuolo, found its way to struggle against the smaller sides. Again, apologies for not a very fancy setup today, but it's just something that gives me an opportunity to, get back in touch with you guys, chat about Milan, and really watch a game and just take it in at about 1 a.m. at night here. I'm just going to pop open some of the chats. As I said, it's not really the traditional setup, so going to be a little bit different, but we'll still make the most of it. There we go. I got a lot of people, you guys. Yeah, I missed some of the better games in the recent past. Pulisic picking up a brace, Milan being down against Torino. I was about to go live for that game, and then things kind of changed and I couldn't. Suddenly I wish I did. Kush, hope we don't lose. All right, hold on. Let me see. I'm not getting your comments here. Let me fix this. The game is about to kick off now. There we go. So your comments should pop in. Napoli with a pretty aggressive start. All their players right off the bat get into Milan's half. Sorry, the game is on there. I'm just trying to pull up the chat here. Test this message out. There we go. It's popping up. A thin win Milan had when they played Napoli the last time. Thin 2-1. Picked up an early lead. 2-0. Pulisic scored the goal. Salamaker scored the goal. And in that second half, they semi fell apart. Conceded a penalty. Lost a player. But still managed to walk away with 3 points. Today, you just need them to find whatever way that they can to win the game. Slightly different setup for Milan. Koni the Winter is going to be replacing Gabbia. Gabbia has been one of those players that is, already a shot on target from Noah Lang from the looks of it. It's a bit of a makeshift setup, so I'm going to be looking at the screen a lot more. I don't have your comments popping up right here. They're going to be popping up right here. Easy 3-0 win, according to someone. I don't know. So did all the Milan players get their names in Arabic on the back of their shirt? Or was that just like a marketing thing for Pulisic? Because I got to see that up close. I got to say, if they did put their names on the back, all their names are in Arabic. I kind of like that. It's different. It's I think they should change the location every year if they really want to do it this way. I think going to new cities would be a better idea than to keep going back, but I do understand they have some strategic partnerships with these, with certain countries and certain areas that they want to, make something of. Milan, I think, announced that they're opening up an academy in Saudi Arabia, so that's pretty cool. Now, keep in mind, it is 1 a.m. here. So if I'm a little bit tired, please allow me. I was in the hospital this morning. So it's been a long day. I had to go in really, really early this morning at like 8:30 a.m. Hospital's about 45 minutes from here, half an hour from here. So been up early, staying up late just so I can catch a game. I haven't even seen a single game over the last 2 weeks. Had no time. I was just checking the scores, but not actually watching full games. Kush, I miss you so much. And you much. Oof, that's a tough one to pronounce, but I appreciate it, my friend. I'm back. I'm not fully back. I'm not going to be making, 4 takeaways just yet. But I'm definitely going to be trying my absolute best to do live streams for every single game moving forward, and also try and put out some content. But yeah, at the end of this month, I'll be back. Don't worry. That is a certain, because I'm going to be leaving India at the end of this month. I'm not going to be here in the new year. And I'm going to be going back to Toronto. So we're going to be back in the studio. We're going to have some fun for a few months there and then head back to Milan. Hello, Kush. Hope everything is fine. Yes, everything is a lot better now, thankfully. Still dealing with a few things, but much better. Krush. I miss you, bro. I miss you too. Damien Esquive Aguilar. The JCP world says, Loftus Cheek almost had that one. Who was the overhead kick by? Was it Salamakers? Tomori. Salamakers goes back to Mike. Lots of news reports coming about Mike too. They're not going to let him just walk away. They're going to try another push to keep him. I think that's important. I think Milan needs to keep him. And by keep him, I mean that's a bit of a given that they need to keep him. But I mean, pay the guy. I know it might not be, from a fiscal standpoint, exactly what they want to do. But sometimes you have to make these exceptions. They do take you to different places. Milan made an exception for Donnarumma. They made an exception for Ibrahimovic back in 2021. And that led them to, or 2020, that led them to getting into the Champions League after 7 years. You make exceptions sometimes, and you can actually take a further leap than maybe you would with a younger player, younger goalkeeper who is not as tested. Now, if we lose to Napoli and beat Napoli again in Serie A, I'll take it. I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. I think this is arguably the least. How do you say it? Look, I'll be honest. When you go to the trophy room at Casa Milan, when you see this trophy, even if it's the Supercoppa from last year sitting on the shelf, you feel something inside. You don't just ignore it. You don't just walk away from it. You do feel something. Salamakers with the drive into the box. It's going to be an interesting game today because both the teams have a somewhat similar style of play, or a lot more similar style of play. Which one's going to be the side that actually tries to break the other one down and actually take chances instead of just sitting back, eating pressure and hitting on the counter? Which one's going to actually take the initiative? Oh my God, that was a great shot from Alexis. No, Pavlovic. It's Strahina. And then Loftus-Cheek almost had that one. It was a tight stop from Vanya there. But yeah, I would say it is definitely the least prestigious trophy that Milan can take this season. So I would definitely take them beating Napoli in the Serie A. But here's the thing, guys. You can beat Napoli in the Serie A again. If you're not going to beat Sassuolo, you're not going to beat Cremonese, Pisa, all these sides, it's going to be tough to be able to lift the trophy at the end of the season. So these are needlessly dropped points. If you just consider the fact that Milan would have picked up points against Pisa that they had a lead against, and even picked up points, let's say, against Sassuolo for that matter, that's 4 points right there. And you add even Cremonese to that, suddenly you're 7, 8, 9 points ahead of second place Inter. But right now, Inter is sitting in first and you're sitting in second because you're just consistently dropping points against the smaller sides. That's been super frustrating. Napoli goes out for a corner kick for them. Oh, that's a nice message, man. 2 years ago, I didn't know you, but now my Milan journey isn't complete without you. I'm back, my friend. I'm back. I appreciate these kind words. But, well, at least I'm back today. And we'll keep putting something out. For sure. I have a lot of content from Milan itself that I have to put out. The videos that I recorded with the players, everything, I had to put everything on pause because it was a bit of a serious situation that happened in the family. So I had to completely just shut everything else down and focus on that. Welcome back, Kush. I typed to you on Instagram. I was wondering where you've been. I'm glad to see you live. Yes, thank you very much. I once again appreciate everybody's kind messages. We're about 8.5 minutes in. It's still sitting 0-0. Wait, why is the score not changing on my screen? What's happening here? Hold on, let me fix this. What is going on here? Let's go, brother. Technical error. There we go. Trying to keep myself up with the... No, it's not that kind of drink. It's actually a thumbs up. This is, let me tell you, this is the best drink. I don't know if it's gonna, this one. This is the best drink you're gonna find. It blows Coke out of the water. Just look it up, thumbs up. This is a drink that you get in India. Tastes so good. Every single expat that I've met in India that move here from whatever country that they may come from, everybody, almost majority of them, a large majority of them, will overwhelmingly say, yeah, this guy switched me. I don't drink Coke anymore. I only drink thumbs up. So much better. But yeah, sorry, that's what's keeping me up right now. Ryder brother says, hope you and your family are okay, brother. You've having a lot of yeah, I know exactly, a lot of emergencies lately for sure. I mean, it was a great 3 months in Italy. I gotta say that too. In the same breath, you take the good with the bad. So it's all good. We enjoy the good. We deal with the bad. But no, things are okay. Things are better. John Sansil, I don't know. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. How good was the Pulisic brace and Rabiot banker? I know that would have been a great... Yes, I know. I seriously know what you mean. The moment I actually woke up to that score, and I fell asleep when the score was 2-0 Torino. I woke up and I saw that score and I was like, I just wish I could have made a video for that one. That would have been so much fun. But yeah, as long as the guys pick up 3 points, that's the most important. Nice defense from Estupinian there. Lovely work. Shielded the ball from Politano with his body. Important. Even for Estupinian, it's a precarious time now. What's happening with Davide Bartesaghi and the way that he's playing. He's my number one too, so I get it. The JCP World says, I think we pulled the trigger on the Thiago Silva. He can bring that experience back in our defense if it's for 6 months. I think that Thiago Silva thing is, to me, it's just that Ibra move from before a little bit. I mean, Thiago may be older than what Ibra was when he came back. But it is just a move of bringing in some leadership, bringing in some experience. He is that leader. He has that history with the club. Trying to bring profiles that will sort of rejuvenate and bring back that passion within the players, especially if you are going to, we're match day 15 or 16 are through. So we're about halfway through the season and we're 1 point off of top spot. So I think 19 this referee angle of Salamakers on the ground is funny, but 19 games in, you're halfway point. So halfway point, Milan is a point off of top spot. So 23, 25 games in, you obviously officially, if you sit in the same place, going to true title contention. And if you have a player like Thiago Silva playing, who played under Max Allegri years ago, 10 whatever years, not even 10, 14 years ago, my God, I feel old. But 14 years ago, played under Max and won the title. And now you have Ibra on the sidelines. Sorry, just watching this. Rabiot, lovely work. But yeah, you have those players come in. I think it's just there's no risk to it. You just kind of go through with it and hope that he can bring something to the team. It's not like he's going to sign a long-term contract anyways. Until now, at least in the recent past for Milan, when they have brought in some bigger profiles, some veteran leadership to the squad, it has worked out. You got to say, Ibra came back, that worked out. Giroud came in, that worked out. Modric has come in. That is very much worked out. You add Thiago Silva into the mix, see what happens. I'm okay with that. Pulisic on Sunday got his goal robbed. Damien Esquive El Aguilar says, yeah, I know. I heard about that. I'm being honest. I didn't watch the games. I haven't had the time, but yeah. Matt, yo, Kush, still away I see. Hoping all is good in your side, buddy. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you very much, as always, Matt. Family comes first, man. I'll be waiting. We'll be waiting for you. Don't worry about it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Trust me, I won't give you guys a chance to miss me once I'm back in Toronto, because I'm going to just start pumping out content. I'm waiting. I'm itching now. It's a much needed break. Just kind of freshens you up. And Nkunku. Alexis had to keep it down a bit more. What's funny is that my last, when I was at the San Siro last, I had interaction with Pavlovic, and Pavlovic was like, "Oh, you're always here now." And I'm like, Straina, you jinxed it a little bit. I had to pretty much leave soon after that comment. Ferlani on screen was very reactive there. I don't really see, at least the other clips that I've seen of him online during, in-game reactions. Sorry, he's not as expressive, I would say, but that one he was. I mean, it's an important game. It's an opportunity to win a trophy in like 2 days. So I know these guys are wanting to, leave a mark, add to that trophy cabinet. Santi leaving. Yeah, looks like Santi might be out. I mean, let's see what happens, but Reckon Pan says, I'm watching from the stadium. Man, that's nice of you to tune in from the stadium. What's the vibe like there? Watching live from Liberia, West Africa, Kennedy Baruduai. I hope things are good in Liberia, my friend. We got some history with Liberia, with George Weah. Emmanuel says, Kush, all your streams draw 1-1. One loss, 1-1. Oh, really? That's the stat right now? Draw 1, loss 1-1. Let's see. Are you not staying in Milan anymore? Was that just a temporary thing? Good question, Matt. Probably going back and forth. My whole thing is, for years, while I was working in Toronto, just, doing my regular business, was always to find a way to create a life where I'm just not tied down to one place. I like just floating around the world. I just love seeing what's going on around the world. And this was the perfect way to do it, have a business in Canada, start this YouTube thing and have a connection with Milan, have a connection with Europe really through football, and find some type of a business opportunity in India. That's what I've always wanted to do. And just split my time between the three places. And it's kind of panning out that way. So no, it wasn't a temporary thing. It's just going to be, everything's sort of going to be temporary. I'm going to be constantly going back and forth from different countries. And grow the channel a bit more, and then maybe start, creating content around that too. There's so many great places that I went to in Milan that I would have loved to have shared with you guys, but I feel like if I'm not putting out enough football content, I don't want to put out, vlogger style content. That's not what you guys are tuning in for. So when we have consistent amount of football content going out, then I'll also start adding some of those, more non-football things. There was a restaurant that I went to in Milan called Salmon Guru. I love that place. And it would have been nice to show you guys some really fun places that I was in Milan. Saket says, watching from, yes, my friend. I'll be in touch with you soon, promise. What's up, Kush? What do you think about the recent links to Fulkrug? Oh, we were linked with him this summer, and it kind of makes sense. I think they're not gonna want to make a splash on a profile that they're not certain could actually, score goals. They're on a counter, a good counter, and Pavlovic breaks that down very quickly. Robs Spinazzola off the ball. Very cooked from Straina there. But yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, I think we can have a debate if it should be Fulkrug or not. That is different, but you need a striker at this point. If you want to make a title run, a lovely turn from De Bruyne. Oh, that's a penalty. No? Alexis is asking for a yellow. That goes out for corner kick. Sorry, not Hoyland is what I meant. Let's see this. Alexis, did he foul him? Oh, not even. That's a yellow. How is the ref not giving that a yellow? That's a dive. Yeah, but he did not appeal for it, to be fair to Hoyland. But I don't know what the rule book says, but that should have been a yellow if I had to really assume. Politano from the corner kick. Mike with the grab. Oh, Mike spills it. Oh, Elmas doesn't even hit the target. Mike sort of grabbed that ball but dropped it. Spilled it too clumsily there. Will you think Sergio Ramos and Thiago Silva will be best for Milan's defense? No, I don't think so. I think it's less so about who's actually playing and more so about who's there. And I think Thiago Silva can do a lot, not playing on the field as well. He can just put these guys into... Having that situational awareness is also an important element that sometimes a player can really bring about for you. And, to be honest, when you're playing against a maybe not as much of a pacey, weaker side where we're conceding needless goals, maybe somebody like Thiago Silva can actually help out. That's what I'm saying. Not a super young side that runs around a lot. That there, Thiago might be. Well, you have a 3-man back line, so you could still actually fit in. But he might be able to sort of usher his players in a way where they don't concede any less goals the way that they have. Matt says someone's going to be accumulating miles on Amex. Hey, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find some good travel credit cards. If anybody has any suggestions, let me know. Yeah, I know my time is off on the stream. I know. You're right. Hold on, let me fix that. I think it's just an internet thing. Should be fine now. It is it's just one of those glitches that you're going to have when you're in a foreign country. Well, not foreign for me, but this is just a temporary residence, so the internet here isn't the greatest. Bit of a midfield fight till now. Not too many attacking chances from either of the sides. They're sort of battling it out in the middle. Lots of fouls. Rabiot took down Politano there. Haven't seen enough of Yashari, gotta be honest. You guys let me know in the comments, how's Yashari been playing? Because since he's come back from injury, I haven't really been watching Milan over the last, I would say, 3 games. I missed Milan Torino, I missed Milan Sassuolo, and I missed, which other game do we have? One other one I missed. Lazio Coppa Italia. I missed that one. That was the first one that we lost. I gotta say this, I'll own this on stream. The entire... Oh, Yashari, come on. He gave up the ball there. Got lucky a bit. Won a free kick. The entire time I was in Milan, I got to put this out there, we didn't lose a single game. Not one. I watched over 10 games, I would say, while I was there. So the people at Milan, I think they noticed that too, because the day that I left, or 2 days after I left, we played against Lazio, and... we're out of the Coppa Italia. It was the first game that was played after I left. So that's a wild one. Sometimes you just bring in energy, man. I don't know. I don't know if I do or don't, but that's just what happened. Support from Ottawa, Jitul says. Thank you very much. Ottawa's home. Kush, welcome back. Support from Dubai, by the way. Thank you very much. Also appreciate that big time. I'm sorry for the Saudi fans. This game is boring. Yeah, I know it's been slow. That's why I said it's been fought out more in the midfield. You know, they see a Premier League game. It's a basketball game, back and forth, net to net. You see a Serie A game, especially in this situation, it's more cagey. It's more playing in the midfield, more technical, dependent on tactics. Some people just feel a certain way about it. Let's see this. Nkunku and Yashari stepping over this free kick. I would assume Yashari takes this. And no, Nkunku does. What was he doing there, Christopher? I think AC Milan might bottle the Serie A, as many rumors are spreading of Mike joining Chelsea, and Mike's contract is expiring. Well, Mike's contract is expiring, that is true. He came pretty close to joining Chelsea in the summer. I know that I'm aware of the fact that Mike wanted to leave. Now, why did he want to leave? Was it because, we finished in 8th place, and he was concerned about what was happening with the club, or did he leave? Did he wanted to leave because he wasn't getting paid what he wanted to get paid? I have some understanding that it was the payment part, that he did want to become, usually when your team's captain, who's performing really well or has had a history of performing well, has won a title and is renegotiating a contract, it's very natural for them to want to become one of the highest paid players. And I think maybe there was some reservations with his injury history and his performance, especially last season, that he was going to be able to deliver on that type of a wage, that salary actually aligned with what his performances were like. And I think maybe that breakdown of negotiations, and there were some reports that also came out that, there's some numbers were agreed upon, and then those numbers were not eventually the ones that were put on paper. I've heard about that too. But I think it was the fact that a salary couldn't be agreed upon, and for that reason the player said, hey, you know what, I want to go somewhere else now. And I think the management, I would say, was smart in saying that, okay, cool, you want to go, you can go, but we need what we want for you then. And when the Chelsea angle came about, it wasn't the price tag that Milan wanted. They wanted more, and Chelsea probably saw the opportunity to get a deal. Maybe, they were made aware by intermediaries that he wants to leave, so they felt like, hey, you know what, we believe 10-15 will get it done because we've given you a discount on a bunch of other players, like Giroud for 1 million, like Loftus-Cheek, like Pulisic for 20 million, whose value is now 50 million about. So we've given you deals, so, give us a little deal on Maignan. And then Milan said, you know what, no, we're not giving you a deal on Maignan. We're giving you what the market is asking for right now, and that's more than 10 million is somewhere what the offer was. And then as things panned out, Milan said, hey, you know what, we're not getting the price for you that we want, and for that reason we're going to keep you. We see more value in holding on to you than getting 10 million for you. And let's see how the season goes, but 16 games in, you're sitting in second place, 1 point off of top spot, and you have this player that is playing excellent football, or, his goalkeeping is top-notch this season, man of the match a bunch of times. In hindsight, it was a great decision. I think it was a good decision to, well, I wouldn't want to say that it was a good decision to shop him around, but it was, I guess, because he didn't really have a good season last time around. But I think it was a more gutsy call to just hold on to him and say, you know what, we'll risk what happened with Donnarumma with you too, if we can have a good season. But the tough news for management now is that he's playing unbelievable football. So his salary demand would probably be sitting right where it was at its peak. Pavlovic controls the ball, playing like a absolute, left winger over here. So now Maignan would say, hey, you know what? Now my salary demand is either the same as what it was at its peak, or I want even more now. So the world is Mike Maignan's oyster at this point. He can do what he wants based on his performances this season, and if he wants to make a move, not much Milan can do about it now. What they can do is, give him a good offer, and that's what I was hearing, that, well, there were some reports that were suggesting that Milan's not just going to let him walk away that easily. They're going to make another pursuit at maybe giving him a higher wage. Is it going to be what he wants? Is it going to make him the highest paid player on the team? We're going to have to wait to see on that. But what I can say is that, that's a lovely ball forward. Højlund in the box. Højlund drags it forward. Oh my God, McTominay almost scored, man. That late run onto the edge of the box, excellent. It was great from Napoli there. It was De Winter who actually, he has to be careful about how he's positioning himself, especially if he's playing as a middle center back, because it was De Winter that was playing him significantly onside, whereas the rest of the team was playing much further up. De Winter was way too deep. So yeah, so now the concern for the management is that Mike's he can do what he wants. He can make those demands now, and hopefully. My personal note in this is I gave you a little bit of a history lesson on what happened, or potentially what happened based on accumulating information from reports. My personal take on this is hold on to him. You can't let him go. I know there are a lot of other options. I know no single player is just gonna, especially the goalkeeper. You cannot say necessarily that they're going to be the reason that everything changes in your club. But he's an important, the goalkeeper is an important piece. And in Mike's case, man, he is a real, true, out and out difference maker. I would pay him what he wants to get paid to a reasonable level. Ireland here, welcome back. Thank you, my friend. Ryder Brother says Estupinian is unreliable going forward. He has no drive and physicality. I think going forward, Theo Hernandez's departure has really opened up this door for Bartesaghi that I did not expect. I think he's definitely my pick to start now. And defensively, I think he's good. Estupinian is also fairly decent defensively. But from an attacking standpoint, the delivery of Bartesaghi has been excellent. So today there was a moment where Estupinian was able to shield the ball a lot better from Højlund, I think, in that attack. And he looked okay, but to be honest, the game itself hasn't really offered that much, hasn't really tested either of the backlines, too much. If we win the Supercopa, we equal Juventus record with this trophy. Hey, just accumulate trophies. When I went to, I think everybody should go to Casa Milan at some point, or, try and go to Casa Milan if you can. The way that they sort of do their trophies, that cabinet space in Kunku, is actually really cool. It's hard to... Salamakers with a nice ball in. Rabiot trailing behind. Estupinian heads it away to Yashadi. Yashadi to Rabiot. Rabiot, Pulisic. Pulisic spreads it out to Salamakers. Salamakers is going to cross it, and he does. Rabiot. That could have been a goal. Similar angle to what Loftus-Cheek was at. Loftus-Cheek tried to kick it in. Rabiot tried to head it in. But that was a good opportunity. But yeah, what they do at Casa Milan to sort of build that excitement of the trophies, and they sort of just light them up. It's beautiful. So worth it. Worth checking it out. I'll put it up on my Instagram. I'll put it up after this game is done. Maybe I can find something and I'll put it up. Hopefully we can get the right result today. But it is pretty cool. Do a little countdown and light up the trophies. Great experience going to Casa Milan. But with the new stadium coming in, everything's going to be moving there. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Oh, lovely ball from Elmas. Pavlovic, good interception there. I think Nkunku needs more time. Yeah, Nkunku has been, quite honest, he's been taking his time even at Chelsea. He had injury issues. He was scoring better. He was scoring some goals there. But I don't know. I guess the jury right now is out on the Nkunku move. You have to see. You need to have a fair expectation from Nkunku as you have from other players. And if we're gonna go after Santi Jimenez for not scoring, we have to do the same with Nkunku. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. Have to be reasonable. Pulisic releases Alexis. Milan on the counter. It's a 2v2. Alexis a 3v2. Alexis goes back to Nkunku. Nkunku with the shot. That could have been a goal. That was close. But that should have been a goal, though. A lot of the Milan fans in the crowd are showing their scarves. But it's not because it's Milan scoring. It's because they're creating attacking chances. You have to finish these opportunities. You've had a few now. Salamakers surprised everybody a little bit going towards Yeah. I think Salamakers wanted Nkunku to actually lay it off even further for one of the guys on the right flank, may have been Tamori. Lovely work. Oh, come on, Rabiot had the ball, man. He actually gets booked. Let's see what happened there. Politano getting into it with the Yashari. Yashari. Oh, I think he did kind of catch him with his studs. Ryder Broda says, I didn't know Bra's boy is on the beach. Is he any good? Huh? Who? Chinton. Oh, my friend Chinton. Kush, what's up? What do you think about Silva Ramos rumors? Yeah, we kind of did talk about that a little bit earlier on this stream. I'm okay with the Silva Ramos rumors. I'm not really sure about the Ramos angle per se, but any type of look, I'm not cutting the checks, right? I'm not the guy who's going to be paying these older guys. So if you bring some experience to the team, not some, if you bring a whole bunch of experience in the form of Thiago Silva and Sergio Ramos to a team that does seem to be conceding needless goals against the smaller sides, maybe that veteran leadership will tighten them up in those games. Oh, that's a goal. Yeah, see, the way that Mike even tried to... I have to watch that again. But I feel like the way that Mike tried to stop that was a bit of an issue. Probably conceding goals like this. Let's see this. The crowd is overwhelmingly, I would say, Milanista, because they're booing Napoli right now after scoring a goal, and they didn't really celebrate that goal much either. See Højlund with De Winter. I just feel like De Winter is catching himself in odd positions lately. He did it before too. The entire team is pushed up further, and De Winter is just dropping further and further back. I feel like at a certain point of time, you could just let Højlund just be in an offside position in a situation like that. I'm not even gonna blame Mike. Initially, I was talking about how Mike may have been at fault. No. Mike was actually not at fault at all, really. I would actually put De Winter more at fault for this one. I do want to go back and watch this, but we only have 5 minutes left till halftime, so we'll just go back during halftime. And Nkunku, come on, man, drive it in, do something with it. It's a corner kick for Milan now. But yeah, so I guess for that reason, Chinton, I probably would take Ramos and Silva, because you don't want to drop points in these games against Sassuolo, against Pisa, against Cremonese. No reason. You should be winning those games comfortably, and maybe veteran leaders like them in the back line could help stop Milan from conceding 2 goals against Sassuolo. Really? You concede 2 goals against Pisa when you're up 2-0? How do you accept that? That's nonsense. Fun with Virat says, hey, I'm new, bro. Hey, I'm new. I don't know. Well, keep watching videos on this channel and you'll figure out everything about all these players. Nkunku. Oh, that might fall to someone. No one. Sending Nkunku back to Chelsea. Too late. Paid 40 million for him already. And I'll give him time, to be fair, but he's going to start running out of it, because we're almost halfway through the season. So you do need him to start delivering, especially when you already have a player like Santi Jimenez who wasn't delivering when he was playing, and then he obviously had his injury issue. So you need somebody to start scoring. You cannot keep depending on Pulisic all the time to bail you out. At least from the goal front. Yeah, the Winter and Mike, I would probably blame the Winter more for that. But sure, yeah, Mike too. Kind of did spill that a bit. Hard angle though. Exactly, Chinton. That's exactly what I talked about, right? De Winter was sitting deep on that McTominay chance, and he did it again. The entire line is further up, and he's just dragging himself alongside Hoyland in an onside position into the box deeper and deeper. It's like, no, man, hold your spot, keep your position, stay in line with the other two guys. Pavlo, yeah, really not. I still don't understand the point of the Nkunku signing. LG Raw, I don't know if I can read that. I still don't understand the point of the Nkunku signing. Yeah, I think it is. I think it was more so about letting go of Chukwueze, letting go of Okafor. They wanted to bring some type of an attacking, depth to the team. And they went for more of the creative profile than maybe a finisher, which in an Allegri 3-5-2 system may have been, I don't know, maybe not the right call. Maybe you needed a finisher when you're sort of lacking one. And in a 3-5-2, when you early on in the summer, there had been enough quotes that came out that the coach is going to depend on Rafa Leao in attack. So that meant that Rafa, he wants to build a team around Leao. So that meant that of that 3-5-2, only one spot was left available, and it wasn't Leao. It was going to be, with Leao already playing, it was going to be somebody who's a finisher. And in that situation, you then, lovely touch. Oh my God, what kind of touch was that from Nkunku? So that means you really need an out-and-out finisher. So in that type of a situation, why they opted to bring in Nkunku is a bit of a question mark. I think it's a fair question mark, to be honest. We'll see how things sort of pan out, but it was not just a chance that they took. They took an expensive chance. It's 40 million. So even for the ones cutting the checks, they'll be looking at that and saying, okay, we brought him in, but when is he going to start delivering? Because till now it hasn't worked out for him. Alexis with the cross in. Pavlovic drops to Rabiot. Rabiot holds onto it. Estupinian. Powerful cross in from Estupinian. The only thing I can say about being in Bombay right now is love the weather, man. So nice here. Milan, the way he said 2 minutes at a time was funny. Milan was cold. I don't like cold. I'm from Canada. Another dangerous attack coming in from Napoli now. Elmas to Hoyland. Oh my God, the Winter just kept backing up, man. He just kept on backing up. I'm going to have to see what he did there, but he kept backing up, gave him the opportunity to take that shot off. Let's see what the Winter did there. His favored left foot. I mean, he cut off that angle on the far side and left Mike with the near side. So, I don't know, but I just don't think that shot should even be allowed to come in. Hoyland. The coral. Yeah, we got about half a minute to go into the first half. Furlani the goat says, Kush, why aren't you at the stadium with your boys Furlani and Ibra? Why am I not there? Because I'm in India right now, man. I'm an international boy. I have to keep moving around different places. Honestly, I would have loved to have gone. I even did consider it. Very honestly, I did consider it. But logistically, it just wasn't possible. And then a lot of stuff happened with people in my family getting unwell, getting hospitalized. So I just couldn't make it happen. Otherwise, I would have loved to. And I will next year. I'll probably plan it so that I can do it next year, because it would be fun to do this there. I don't know where they're going to do it next. Are they going to keep doing it in Saudi Arabia, or are they going to try a different country too? I don't know. I'm curious. I think they should keep moving the show around to different countries. Wow, Mike is not happy about something, arguing with the referee. All right, well, it's halftime there. Let's wait for some more people to come in. We'll open up the player ratings there. Uh-oh, wrong page. Hold on, let's fix this for you guys first. And let's open up a different one. I mean, like, I'm curious to know in the comment section how many of you guys are, super passionately wanting this game to be a certain way. Are you comfortable with, you're not really, giving this game much of a priority? I am curious about that. I hope you guys can hear me here. Yes, you can. All right, let's just jump into some player ratings, and then we'll just talk about the game in general. Mike in the back, 5.5. This is exactly what I was talking about. When my first reaction to that goal that Milan conceded was that, Mike was a little bit sloppy on that. He probably should have held on to the ball. He shouldn't have parried it right into the path of Neres. And I think that kind of reflects in his rating there. He's sitting with a 5.5 right now. Hasn't been his best day, but I would put that goal more so. My God, this guy can't stop honking at 1 a.m. at night. This is the beauty about India, right? They just don't stop here. And Bombay is a city that never sleeps. It's just full out, 24 hours a day is busy here. But going back into these players. Yeah, looking at the back line, Tomori, De Winter, and Pavlovic. Somehow De Winter, they're sitting with a higher rating than Tomori for me on FootMob. I wouldn't really agree with that. I think there were a couple of moments Chintan already mentioned in the comment section. I kind of already talked about it earlier too. There was a moment where McTominay was played completely onside by De Winter. The entire back line was much closer to the halfway point, and for whatever reason, De Winter was much closer to the box. And that happened on that goal because the positioning that he adopted with Højlund was, keeping him way too onside when the entire line was playing much further up. He was playing deep, and not playing deep in a way where you're, around Højlund where he's here so you can actually catch him offside. No, he was actually keeping him on and still moving away from where Pavlovic and Tomori were positioned. So for me, I think De Winter has been the player that defensively has not held the right spot. And even once again, it happened where he kept backing off of Højlund, where Højlund was able to get a shot off. So I think defensively, right now, Milan has missed Gabbia, you would say, in the middle. And I think Allegri would have preferred that. Now, in the midfield line, you have Alexis Salamakers with a 6.9. He has created some opportunities in attack. Loftus-Cheek had that early on chance. He's sitting with a 6.4. Early on in the first half, he was the one who, forced Milinkovic-Savic into a save. Yashadi, I haven't seen enough of, I gotta say. I haven't seen enough of him today, but he's still sitting with a decent rating alongside Rabiot, who's probably hit by that yellow card, and Estupiñán. Estupiñán did a bit of decent defensive work in the beginning. There was a point in time where he shielded the ball off of, I think, Højlund. Was strong, or Politano, and he was strong in possession there. But it's the attacking creativity. There hasn't been a lot that Milan has offered in attack. I think they're missing Luka Modric. His absence, his creativity in attack is very different from what Yashadi is offering right now. And obviously, Pulisic has also been not as involved, you could say, attack-wise, and Milan just hasn't been able to get that many opportunities. Because the opportunities that they did get, like the one that fell to Nkunku, was you didn't really do much with it. And I think that's where the debate about Nkunku does come about that is fair, is that in a team that is struggling to score goals, how come that was a profile that Milan decided to go with? How come that was a player that they wanted to bring in? Because it hasn't really worked out till now. I'm going to go through some of your comments right now. Once again, I want to let you guys know it's about almost 1:30 a.m. here in India. I am doing this live stream because it's been a few days since I've made a video. I've had a bit of a family situation happen, a medical situation happen. So for that reason, I'm not in Milan anymore. I am in India. I am going to be going back to Toronto in probably about 10 days. Spend a few months there, at least a couple of months, I would say. Create content from there. I love creating content from my studio. And then head back to Milan to close off the season. So a lot is going to be happening this season, but it's going to be this, fluid nature of my life where I'm going to be moving around to different places. Let's go through some of your comments. I do want to thank you guys for being super kind. A lot of you guys were in DMs, sent me messages on WhatsApp, Instagram about, hoping everything was okay with my family. And it is. Everything is better. And here we go. Let's see some of your comments. Marco Leo says, hey, Kush. Hello, Marco Leo. How are you doing? Okay. Sorry, I got lost there a bit. Aryan Rajvanshi says, your stream is 20 seconds late. It possibly is. I don't know. It depends on the internet in your area too, right? Where is Gabbia? Here's what I know. Gabbia is being missed for sure. The way that De Winter has played, I feel like Gabbia would have done a better job in some of those moments. So right now he's being missed. Marco Leo says, might be the wrong take, but I personally want to see us out of these meaningless competitions because of all the injuries. It's a 2-day competition though, right? So if this was one of those that was going on for weeks, like the Coppa Italia does, I would understand and probably agree with you. I think the team should be aiming to win as many trophies in a season as possible, because I think winning trophies just brings about a different type of character out of players. And when they go through the process of winning trophies, it just makes them a better player, and it just makes them a better team, like truly a better team, a cohesive unit. So I think aiming for trophies is always a good idea. Now, I do understand what you're trying to say, but the Supercopa is only 2 games, man. It used to be only 1 game that was played before the season even started. Now, they've obviously added games to add money to the entire equation. Let's be real about that. And for that reason, here we are. But it's a semifinal and a final. You got to go for it, and you got to win those. So I would say I understand your point, but I'm okay with them, fighting for these. And it happened to be the last trophy that Milan won. It was the 50th trophy. This is what I was talking about early on in the stream, that, I was at Casa Milan while I was in Milan. I went a couple of times, and when you do pass by that trophy room and you do see the Supercopa trophy and you think about the fact Theo Hernandez and Rafael Leao lifting it and the way that it happened, Inter up 2-0 and then they lose 3-2, and you think about Sergio Conceição's celebrations with the cigar, you look at that trophy and it like sort of gives you a snapshot of that, just standing there looking at it. You just reminisce on those moments. So I think it is worth it to fight it out for these trophies, but I do get what you mean. Ryder Brother says they don't want to spend an extraordinary amount of money on one quality player because it's a risk, but it goes on to 90 million on Morata, Jimenez, and Nkunku. Try to make sense of that. Um, yeah, that's fair criticism. I think Morata is a little unfair because Morata's from last season, so that would be, different decision makers were there compared to what you have right now. Same thing with Jimenez. I think we're kind of conflating different profiles. Iglitare wasn't there to make the calls on Jimenez and Morata, but he did make the call on Nkunku, I assume. So I do understand what you're saying but that I think this is also an overblown thing. You said it yourself here. They don't want to spend extraordinary amount of money, but they're spending 90 million on these guys. So then they do want to spend money. If they didn't want to spend money, the comment would probably be that they've spent 13 million on somebody or 20 million on somebody. The fact that they're spending 90 million euros means they're ready to spend the money. Now, is there a fair criticism that can be leveled on them as to what profiles they do bring in and what kind of players they sign? 100%. That is a fair critique. I think we have to move on from assuming that these guys don't want to spend money because, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing, I think they do want to spend money. And they have. Nkunku was 40 million. And you could argue we didn't even really need that type of a profile. So 40 million was spent. But yeah, I would agree that till now it hasn't really worked out. Get the Winter off the field. Yeah, well, who do you bring on though, right? That's the thing. That's why you need Sergio Ramos and Thiago Silva, apparently, I guess. Aryan says, where are you in India? We'll love to meet you in Dehradun. I'm not in Dehradun, my friend. I'm in Bombay. I usually just float between Bombay and Delhi, because that's where I'm from. My fiance's from Bombay, so we sort of just move back and forth. What are you drinking, Kush? What I'm drinking is, I've already gone through it. I showed you guys already on the stream. I'll show it to you one more time. This is called Thumbs Up. Thumbs Up is the best drink that is available in India. It's obviously non-alcoholic. I'm just having some pop to end my day. But this is by far the best drink that you're going to drink in India. I already mentioned in the stream, the locals obviously love it, but I'm talking from the expat community, the ones that are not Indian that come here and they're used to drinking Coke and Pepsi all their life. Once they drink Thumbs Up, they do not drink any of those two drinks in India. And they always talk about it when they're overseas that they miss Thumbs Up. So if you're in India, you drink some Thumbs Up. It is delicious. So there you go. That's what I'm drinking. Hold on. A few more comments. Well, a bunch more comments here. Get Nkunku off the pitch. Yeah, well, again, who did we bring on? Missed the first 20 minutes. How was it for Milan? Nah. It hasn't been a good day, I gotta be honest. Terrible goal, garbage defending. Agreed on both. Mind Flare says, Mind Flare, nice. I don't care at all personally. Still, we shouldn't embarrass ourselves. Okay. Yeah, losing to Napoli wouldn't be embarrassing per se, but I don't want to say the word losing at all. I want a turnaround in the second half. Scudetto and Champions League matter infinitely more. Yeah, I think that's a given for sure. Marco, you're right about that. All right. Mindflare says, that's who our cheap management is going for. Got to get used to it, unfortunately. Who are you talking about? You're talking about Fulkrug. Is it Fulkrug or Fulkrug? Our cheap management hasn't been cheap, man. They're spending money. I'm fully down to criticize anybody for what decisions are made, which players are brought in, but you can't say they don't want to spend money. They're spending money for sure. I think during the winter transfer window, you want a little bit more of a reliability factor, somebody maybe who's proven, and I guess your scouts are telling you that could help, rather than feeling like, hey, every single transfer window you have to go out there and spend 30 million. I don't even agree with that. I've never agreed with that. You go and watch my videos from early days of Redbird coming in. I always have believed that you have to make smart decisions rather than just throw money at the problem. So I'm not anti-Fulkrug because the player is older. I'm but I'm not for it necessarily because I have to wait to see how he actually plays. Because I think even his time at Aston Villa hasn't. Is he at Aston Villa or West Ham? I don't think his time there has necessarily been the best either. But this was a player that we were going for back in the summer. So obviously they saw something in him that they wanted, and now they probably see an opportunity where they could actually sign him. So, but yeah, I completely dismiss the cheap management angle. I think it's just overplayed and old now. Whereas Bartasagi's probably taking a break, man. He needs some break. Bring in Ibrahimovic. Nkunku isn't doing much. Yeah. I mean, there was one opportunity that Nkunku got that Ibra would have probably nailed even in his suit. Michael Vert says, the thing that annoys me the most about this team is that we play like a small team, defensive and wait for the counterattack instead of having the pressing of the quality. Yeah, but that's Allegri, right? That's the way that he's played for a long time. And I would say small team, I would dismiss that notion, but I do understand what you're saying. You want positive football, you want intensity, you want your team to take control. But we kind of had that over the last couple of years, no? We had that with Conceição, maybe less so in his own second half of his tenure, but we kind of had that with Paulo Fonseca. We had that in Pioli's last year, trying to play that expansive football, attacking style, score goals. It didn't really work out. This one's kind of working out. We're sitting in second place, 1 point off of top spot. So I know it's annoying, but it's also getting results. Just need to deliver against the smaller teams, the true small teams, as you said. This is an interesting comment from Delane. This match is definitely not a priority for Allegri, or he would have never had this lineup. That can be debated, I guess. He wants to rest his main guys or his main system for the Serie A games. But that could change in the second half of the second half, 70-minute onwards. Maybe he will load up the, and try and extract a result. Let's see. I think we'll be able to tell how much of a priority today's game is for Allegri based on how he responds maybe after 65 minutes, 70 minutes, based on the kind of substitutions. If he keeps the system the same and the players the same, I think it would be fair to assume that, okay, you know what? He probably just doesn't care about this game that much. Yeah, this is a true comment. Nkunku cannot control the ball. He loses everything. I agree. Very frustrating. Ryder Brada says, the Winter in the middle doesn't make any sense. It makes more sense to have Tomori in the middle. That's not his position either, but he's more experienced in the Winter. Yeah, the Winter usually in the beginning of the season was only playing on the right side of the 3-man back line. It was mostly Gabi and Pavlovic playing, but I do get your point. I think maybe the coach trusts Tomori with those forward runs more so. I think by bringing the Winter in and moving Tomori, you are creating more of a... You're moving more away from the status quo, because the status quo for this team is that Tomori's on the right, Pavlovic is in the left, and Gabi is in the middle. And by putting Tomori now in the middle, the Winter on the right, you're really shifting the system. But if you have Pavlovic on the left and Tomori on the right, and the only player you replace is the Winter, is Gabi with the Winter, not least Pavlovic and Tomori don't have to change what they do week in and week out. So I can kind of understand why the coach is sticking with that and not replacing Gabbia, not replacing Tomori's position. But the Winter just hasn't been good. That much you can say. Not till now, at least. Gabbia's injured, yes, that's true. Nkunku doesn't connect well with Leao Pulisic. Who does he connect well with? We got to figure that part out. Because... even the crowd is trying to get Milan riled up a little bit. Like, wake up this team, because you're going to see probably Napoli sitting back a lot more now. Adrian Karbolinic. Milan 2, Napoli 1, Nkunku Yashari. Well, let's go. Let's leave that there for a little bit. Appreciate the super chat, my friend. Yashari. To Stupinian with the first time ball in. That was tough. Tough to connect. Modric warming up. You could say that De Winter is actually really marking Højlund there. Oh, lovely work from Pavlovic. Great interception. So De Winter is sort of more floating so around wherever Højlund goes, rather than necessarily hugging that middle line, that middle spot, sorry. If Højlund's dragging him out wide, he kind of does tend to go out wide. So his assignment is more so on Højlund, but Højlund's got the better of him till now for sure. Mindflare says, we got to get a center back in January. Watch the Gabia injury be worse than they were saying a few days from now. Well, don't assume bad things, man. You're the Mindflayer. Well, that's why you're assuming bad things. But, yeah. We definitely need a center back. We need a few players. We need a center forward too. Goal scoring one. Esraban 2482 says, did you get to see Messi in India? No, but he was there. He's here while I'm here. It's on the news so much. This is what I'm trying to get Milan to do as well, you know, get that connection going with India, because a lot of people here, a lot of football lovers, you got to see how crazy people went when Messi's been here. He's doing a freaking India tour. He's been to what, maybe 3 cities already, and he's about to go to a 4th. That guy's like on just doing a tour here, like a fan tour. And this country's people think it just cares about cricket. No, you'll shock you how much people care about football here. Every time I come to India, people my age, like I went to high school here. So a lot of people my age, they only talk about football. We never even talk about cricket. I love cricket. But most people here, young people, the affluent middle class, they only care about football. But they only care about the Premier League because the Premier League cares about them. That's the thing. Like the Premier League really focuses on India. They have an EPL India Instagram page that has millions of followers. Maybe more than Serie A has in general. EPL for India has more followers. You tap into the market, you'll get something out of it. And that's what Messi is doing. Messi is not here to mess around. He's here to increase his brand value probably in a country of 1 billion plus people. So, yeah, long story on that one. Did you get to see Messi in India? No, but I know people who did, and they said it was a madhouse. You got to see that video of, because I think Messi came with Rodrigo de Paul and one of the other players. And was it Suarez that he came with? I can't remember. But you have to see that's in that stadium in Ahmedabad. There was... Messi gave like a little speech through an interpreter, and then the crowd just started chanting De Paul, De Paul, De Paul, and he was shocked. De Paul was shocked at like, what? They want me to talk? They even know who I am? And then he gave a little speech. You got to see. I think it was on 433 or somewhere. It's pretty cute. But these guys have like huge brand value here. They just don't know it. And so do a bunch of Milan players, and they don't know it either. But trust me, I'm trying to get Milan to do it now. Enemy of 322. Kush, what do you think the final score will be? I'm sensing a 1-1 right now. I'm dreading an extra time game because it's already 2 a.m. here, but I have a feeling. After that, I'll leave it to if it happens or when it happens. Could we ever get Lookman or Alvarez, not Fulkrug? Yeah, but those guys are going to cost you so much money though, right? They're getting Fulkrug not because they want to see him as a player here for 5 years. I think they're bringing him in because they see that there's an opportunity to plug a hole that is in the team, and that hole is an inability to finish. And they feel like that guy with his experience could plug that hole temporarily. Sort of how Giroud did in 2021. When Giroud came, he was €1 million is what it took to sign him. But he plugged an important hole, which was of scoring goals and staying fit because Ibra was getting injured. So, let's see. Oh, Neres, lovely turn. Scott McTominay. Oh, what a shot from Rahmani. What a stop from Mike. Lovely work, Mike. Leao is going to come on obligatorily at some point. I don't think he's in this. I don't think he's on the bench even. I think he's too injured today. Hopefully Allegri will make changes at halftime. That's what I was talking about, Delane, earlier. That I'll see how much Allegri cares about this game, because if he doesn't make any changes by the 65th minute, maybe around the 70th minute, he doesn't really care too much for it. Kush, which streaming website are you using to watch the match? I am watching the match on a Canadian website because all my systems are Canadian. So I can just, for me, it's just, easy to watch them. I have my accounts there. So I'm not watching it on an Indian account. But in Canada, we have something called Fubo Sports. So I'm using that. Hello, Kush. Hello, RND My Life. And 9663633. Adrian G. Carbalonelich with a thumbs up super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, Bombay and a thumbs up. Okay. Oh, thumbs up. Talking about this. Nice. That's a thumbs up. Wonder if I should get a new one. And this is what I love about India too. They have like these tiny bottles, so you don't drink too much pop or too much soda or too much, I don't know what you guys call it in your local cities. In Canada, we call it pop for some reason. Pop. The Winter. Spreads it out to Alexis. Alexis with a one-time touch. Oh, that's a foul. Yeah, McTominay should get booked for that. If you're going to book Rabiot for what he did to the other guy, that sounds like a... Yeah, he kind of did kick his ankle there. All right, they got to do something from this free kick. Once again, it's Nkunku and Yashari stepping up for this one. This time, if it's Yashari taking it, it's going to curl into the goal from this angle. I wish Modric was there for this one. Nkunku once again. Oh, no. Oh, Straina goes out for a corner kick. What happened there? Thumbs up. Yeah. What happened there? Dropped for Pavlovic, but was cleared out by Juan Jesus. Nkunku steps up for the corner kick. Why is he whipping these crosses in? So interesting. Nkunku. Oh, that could have dropped it. Yeah, nearly. Alexis. Salamakers with a throw in. Figayo. De Winter. Yashari. Through the middle. But goes by to De Winter. I want to see a little bit more creativity from Yashari too. He's the one sort of dictating the tempo from the middle. You need a little bit from him. Yashari's on the ball now. Goes to Pavlovic. Pavlovic to Stupinian. Pervis. Pervis to Pavlovic. To Nkunku. Nkunku's like playing so far out at the goal. Who's going to score? Christian. Pulisic. Finally haven't seen him in a while. Tomori might cross it in. He does, but that was a bad cross in. Too flat. Stop too easily. Rabiot. Adrian. Tamori. Is he going to cross it in? No, he doesn't. Alexis. Too heavy. But Loftus-Cheek. Great strength from Loftus-Cheek. Alexis. Goes to Tamori. Milan's really having a hard time breaking this down. This is just not a team that knows necessarily how to play with control. And especially when you play with control against a side like Napoli that is dictated, has their defense dictated by Antonio Conte, it's not easy to break down. So you're asking a team like Milan to do something that they're not used to against a team that is being asked to do something that they are used to. You're asking Milan to control the game and you're asking Napoli to defend. That favors Napoli for sure. Yeah, I think Loftus-Cheek got the ball there. What are you doing? Even Max is not happy about that. But he's asking his players to calm down. Oh, that's a... Come on. Why are you even stopping for that? Yeah, I think it was the left leg that sort of sandwiched him. Yeah, so I kind of get that. Where are you watching? I am watching, as I said, on Fubo Sports, Canadian streaming website in India. Michael Vert says, I'm not a tactical expert, but playing 3-5-2, attacking on the wings, and then trying long balls when we don't have a versatile veritable? Is that a veritable? Center forward, it's a waste of possession. Well, the way that this team prefers to play is on the counter, right? So we don't even do a lot of crossing of the ball because, as you said, we don't really have an out-and-out number 9. So we are sort of in a bit of a spot because your style of play is sort of based on the runners and based on the creative players that attack when it's a 4v3 kind of situation happening. That's where you get your best. Milan doesn't really do a lot of build-up plays to score goals. So with Napoli having the lead, they're not really risking moving forward too much. They're sort of just sitting back and eating the pressure the way that we do. The way that we did against Fiorentina winning 2-1, against Inter winning 1-0. Did we win 1-0 against them? Against all the teams that we've won with a 1-goal margin. Roma 1-0. That's the tricky part. What happened to the names on the back of the jerseys? They're all written in Arabic. Games in Saudi Arabia. So they're writing it in Arabic. Oh, you guys meant Ibra's son. I get it. How's Pulisic doing? Chad asks. No different from the rest of the team, I would say. Not much today from any of the guys. Adrian once again. Appreciate. Or is this from before? Yes, it is from before. My bad. I'm really behind on the messages, huh? But yeah, great prediction. 2-1. Let's see. Nkunku Yashari. Haven't seen much from either of the two guys till this point, but let's hope so. Matt says this game won't go to extra time, straight to penalty. Oh, right. Yes. Yeah, no time to exhaust these guys even more. Aaron says that was Hyderabad. Oh, yes, where that DePaul thing happened. Yes. Dawid Malan says, the bottom line is that Super Cup has no meaning. We won it last time and no one cared. Plus, it's played in Saudi, which just shows it is fake. I mean, guys, I don't mind the fact that it's played overseas outside of Italy because you're just trying to grow the brand. Oh my God. Hoyland got away 2 weeks. Oh my God. The winter has been a disaster on Hoyland. Absolute disaster on Hoyland. I gotta say, complete disaster on Hoyland. That's just terrible defense from the winter. Somehow I just don't see a 2-0 turning. I think now this game is just a fun watch for me with you guys. Just chatting and enjoying. I have some doubts that we're going to score 3 goals. Unless, we really, really change up our midfield and attack the way that we're going to play. Not attack. I mean, who we're going to change it to. They just have had 0 zip today in them. But my God, the winter has been really poor. I am going to go back in this game right now. I do want to see where the winter was positioned on that goal. But yeah, the winter struggled. See, once again, you watch the replay of where Tomori and Pavlovic are and where the winter is. I don't really understand. I guess he's been asked to man mark the guy, stay as tight on the guy as possible. But sometimes the places that he's allowing him to start the attack and collect the ball from, you can just catch him offside instead. I haven't seen a clean angle on this one, so I don't want to say, but yeah, the winter's been completely outplayed. My timer isn't updated. Oh, God. Let me fix that. Pavlovic should play striker. I'm being serious. Yeah. I mean, he does tend to attack quite a bit. You're behind on comments. I don't know if you know. Yes, I know. I usually am. I get really into it. I start reading every single comment. So I need like some type of training, professional training on how to handle comments because I don't want to ignore anybody. Alexis on the left to Stupinian. Stupinian. Pavlovic with the cross in. Ficayo with a header, but not quite much in there. Adrian G. Carbolo Niche, once again, thank you for your super chat. You're very generous today. Kush, you're wonderful. Forza Milan, bro. Thank you very much, Forza Milan. Always, sempre Milan. But it's okay. Today's is going to be quite the turnaround if they pull this off. Atakame is coming on. Chris says Pulisic has barely touched the ball today. Yeah, it's true. He's barely been involved. I don't know who you'd blame for that, Pulisic or the other guys, but it's just not been a good day for any of the guys. This has been, I got to say this, I haven't seen a Milan game in a few last 3 games, but I saw a bunch before that. In Milan, this is arguably one of the worst performances I've seen from them. Just no passion. Just nothing. I think I got to be honest. Maybe I'll address this at the conclusion of the game. But yeah, I'll leave that for later. Oh, really? The winter is bad, and my goodness, yeah, hasn't been good today. What an embarrassing game. Again, hasn't been good, and you can see that the crowd is majority Milan fans, so they're really not enjoying this. Feel bad for those guys in Saudi Arabia. So it's Fafana and Atakame coming on. Now you guys tell me. seeing Fofana coming on and Heta coming on, and the players that are being taken off are Alexis Salamakers and who's coming off? Fofana and De Winter comes off. So now you tell me, seeing Atakame and Fofana, do you think Allegri's taking this game seriously? Or do you think Allegri's just okay with however this goes? Because he did not bring on Modric. He did not make any type of an attacking change. I gotta even see what the hell's available right now. So let's see this. Hold on. Okay, let's see this. So you got, yeah, that's the thing. We don't really have many attackers right now. We have Maximilian Ibrahimovic. Maybe he can do something. You got Samuel Ricci, Luka Modric, Partesaghi. Yeah, this team is just drained. They don't have much attackers available. So who's going to do what today? Oof. Honest Abe says the winter hate is overblown. He's bad, but not that bad. I don't think he's bad. As you said, I don't think he's that bad. He's just not had a good game today. He's had a bad game today. That's the fact. Dark Bismarck says their game plan is just like pass the ball to Hoyland and let him destroy the winter. Well, they've picked out at a weak link in the back line. Oh god, that's a foul. He just like slammed Pulisic onto the ground like a WWE move. What was that? How's that not yellow? Look at how he took down Pulisic there. Oh no, he actually did try to help him, sorry. Adrian, once again, your third super chat today. Once again, thank you, my friend. I never thought Modric and Leao made such a big difference. Shows what I know still. I'd start Yashari over Fofana. Forza Milan. Kush. Yeah, we're missing, but it's even if Modric and Leao are missing, this is just not a good performance from the team. It definitely helps when you have your best players, but you still have your good players. Rabiot's there, Pulisic is there. Ruben could have got that. Loftus-Cheek is, well, there. Barely. So, I don't know. I just don't think it's a game that they've prioritized. I'm going based off of, how they've sort of dealt with the game against Pisa, against Cremonese, maybe even so against Sassuolo. I didn't watch the game, but against Sassuolo. So what I mean to say is, sometimes there's just some games that you focus on and you prioritize. And the fact that they won this trophy less than a year ago, and it's not like it is in the trophy cabinet of all 4 trophies, this is going to be the weakest one. That's not a controversial statement. So I think there's just a lack of drive in the way that they seem to be playing. I don't think at any point today, 72 minutes have passed. At no point today have I felt like, yes, there come the guys. There we go. Now they might be able to pull something off today. No, it's just look like they're sort of just disinterested. Hoyland once again. Let's see how Tomori handles him. Hoyland with another shot. Milan out of the Copa and now out of the Super Copa. We can 100% focus our efforts on Serie A. Yes, that's it. That's the main goal anyways. That's the thing, Adam. I'm seeing this comment that now that they're out of the Super Copa, they can focus on Serie A, but Super Copa is only 2 games. Modric is coming on now, so 75 minutes in, Modric will come on. "75 minutes in, sits 2-0. Modric comes on. The crowd goes wild. It's still wild for me to think about the fact that Luka Modric in my life will go down as my first ever football interview. That is still wild. And here he comes on. It's Luka. The humility this man has is ridiculous. Alright, there we go. Let's see how we take this free kick. And Nkunku once again. What is this, man? What is this free kick anyways? Come on, man. The free kicks have been terrible. Nkunku's taken too many free kicks and none of them have been good. Corner kicks he's actually taken kind of decent, but the free kicks have been terrible. And every time he's about to take the free kick, somebody else steps up with him. And why wasn't it Modric taking it right now? Why isn't Nkunku taking it still? Vortex Sample says it's the reality because Allegri doesn't care about the cups. That's just embarrassing. You're talking about not focusing, and yeah, it's true. Allegri doesn't really care about the Super Copa. He doesn't even really care about the Copa Italia. He's not that coach. You should, and I'm sure he does care. I think we're just being we're speaking a bit of hyperbole, just assuming that he doesn't care. But it's definitely not the important ones, because they're not. Stein 1835 says, I don't know why they aren't passing to Pulisic even when he's dropping in. I got to see that a little bit more. I haven't seen moments where they're not passing it to him, but to be honest, they're playing terrible football. They haven't played well at all today. That's wild that the entire crowd is a Milan crowd. Even when their players are coming off, they're whistling, they're booing, nobody's clapping. When Milan has possession, the crowd suddenly starts getting that passion through. Obviously, Milan's going to be the bigger club in Saudi Arabia. That's a given. There was more intensity to the crowd when Modric came on compared to Napoli's 2 goals. So all right, 2 goals needed with 13 minutes to go, and then we're into a penalty shootout. Atakame, bad ball. You just need really 1 goal. 1 goal opens the whole thing up. You got enough time. Just don't have the creativity from the players. Not one that we've seen till now. Let me get a little comfortable. Starting to get sleepy, guys. It's 2:10 here. I don't know how some of the Indian YouTubers do these. I guess they're in the routine. I'm not. Modric touching the ball got more response than Napoli scoring 2 goals. Once again, every touch they're cheering. Loftus-Cheek, Ruben to Pulisic. Pulisic loses the ball there. Can he get some coverage? Oof, that was tight. But now Napoli can counter. Oh, terrible ball from Rahmani. Or who was that? Yeah, Rahmani. I would sub Ibrahimovic at this point. Says Vortex Samples. Yes, I mistook that. I thought you guys were just joking and talking about Zlatan. But I do understand you're talking about Maximilian. Ibra's son. So, yeah, why not? Didn't he score a goal recently in one of the games? Exactly. No reason not to have Modric play that ball, and that's crazy to me. Yeah, I know. I don't know why Nkunku's playing those crosses in. What's Nkunku's role then? Is his role to cross the balls in? Is he scoring goals? Who's doing what? There can't be, the fact that you have too much of a dependency on Rafa, Modric, Pulisic, everybody to have to play is going to be a problem for the team, because when you're trying to go for a title, when you're trying to go for a title run, you need depth. We don't really have that right now. That's why we need that in January. That's why I'm okay with Fulkrug too. Just give me somebody who can score goals. And he can score goals. Pulisic, lovely move. I just hope my microphone's still working. Last time it stopped working when I touched it too much. Yes, looking good. Noah Lang. That was a player that Milan actually wanted for a while, huh? Honest Abe says Modric is not great on set pieces either. Nah, he can deliver the ball so much better than anybody else, man. Oh, the comments are not popping up. Hold on, we gotta fix this. But trust me, I'm trying to fix it. I honestly don't even know if my stream is on right now, so I'm just gonna check on YouTube myself. Hope it's there. Oh, it is on. Oh, you guys can hear me. I just checked it on YouTube. It's freaking working. I don't even know. The problem is, how do I get this other computer to keep working? Show me the game. I don't know what happened that caused that stream to drop, but... Oh, I think it's gonna come on now. Everything should get back to working. Just give me a minute. In any case, nothing's gonna happen in the game. We know that. I actually didn't realize that that's how it works, that once the stream drops, if you reconnect back to the internet, it just carries on from there. I thought it just disappears. Alright, here we go. Game's coming back on. I'm just fixing the comments now. And boom, boom, there we go. All right, crisis averted. Not in the score line, but in the stream at least. Damn, everything's so yellow on the screen. I just looked at it right now. It's because all the lights are so yellow. So, his colors are a little bit off today. I feel like I look extra tanned. Score's 1-2-0, man. Why are you giving us more pain by asking the score? It's painful. Oh, is there going to be a third goal for Napoli? That's going to be embarrassing for Milan. McTominay, oh, he should have finished that for sure. But we're 86 minutes in. And a turnaround today seems highly unlikely, if not basically impossible. Milan was down 2-0 against Inter in the Supercoppa final less than a year ago, and they came back to score 3 goals, win it 3-2, but they just don't have that kind of passion today. You can see it, you can feel it. You can feel its absence. Alan Rosanero says, our summer signings tell us everything we need to know about wasted money. Our summer signings were Rabiot, not wasted money. Modric, not wasted money. Who else did we sign? Well, we signed a bunch of players. De Winter, I guess, yeah, jury's still out. Atakame, too young. I don't want to say anything negative. Estupinian, yeah, I'm not fully convinced for sure. Bartisagi's done a better job. Who else is there? Salamaker's coming back. I don't really quantify that as a signing. And Nkunku, yeah, not very good. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. It's they haven't had the impact that you need them to have. But somehow we're sitting in second place, 1 point off of first place. So you also cannot completely discount it and say there's nothing, because we're sitting in 1 point behind first top spot. I know these games can be tough, but let's be real. It's the same team that has also beaten Napoli. It's also beaten Fiorentina, Bologna, Juventus, Inter, Roma, Lazio, beaten everybody. Every top side from last season, either beaten them or drawn against them. Juventus away from home, Atalanta away from home. So I think it's more complicated than just saying that the summer signings haven't been good. But sure, a lot of the dependency has come probably more so from the coach. You know, it's more Allegri who's changed the way that this defense has been playing. That has given us certain results. But it hasn't come individually from the signings that the team has made. So fair critique, but they're still sitting in second place, 1 point off of Inter at top spot. So. Pavlovic playing as a left winger right now. Modric through the middle for Fofana. Pulisic holds onto the ball. Christian driving it in. Estupinian out. Oh my God, it's a corner kick. Thank God. I was like, that cannot be a cross. Yeah, sorry guys. Some of you guys are talking about how you couldn't hear me. Yeah, the internet just shut off for me here. But we're back. Estupinian from the edge of the box. Estupinian, what a rocket that would have been if it actually was on target. L-Job 6. I don't want to say some of these numbers. I don't get why we offloaded Tammy and Jovic, because they were not playing well, man. Because we can't think back at the past and think that somehow it was better than what it was. Tammy Abraham was not very useful, and neither was Jovic. They weren't consistent, at least. Yeah, you can criticize again for the replacements, for sure. But you can't say that we should have held on to those guys. Should have been even better. Persian Skeptic says, as long as we... Hello, Persian Skeptic. It's been a while, my friend. As long as we sit in top 3 for this season, I would consider it a success. I would say acceptable. I wouldn't say success. Maybe I would just rephrase it how you're saying. If Milan finishes in top 3, I would find it acceptable. But if Inter wins the title, that's not going to be acceptable. That's going to be a big problem once again. But I would say top 3 would be acceptable. But a successful campaign would probably be going down to the last 3 or 4 games in a title run. That I would still say, okay, you know what? It was successful. We didn't pull it off, but we came very close. So I'll happily... I can't call it a success. Success is winning. So maybe I'm just, confusing myself here. I would accept it if they made top 3, but success would be winning. $72 million wasted on Nkunku and Jimenez. I wish I could disagree. At least on the Nkunku part, I won't. I will disagree because it's too early to say. But the Santi Jimenez part is not looking good. I think he's on his way out. Who do you think is better, considering they both came to the Serie A this season? Federico Bernardeschi or Nkunku? How's Bernardeschi playing? I haven't seen him in too much detail, I gotta be honest. He's playing where? At Bologna? Bernardeschi played for my home team in Toronto FC. So... and he, played a lot in Serie A, so it wouldn't be a fair comparison. He's an Italian guy who has a lot of experience playing in Serie A, whereas Nkunku is brand new to the league. So, and Nkunku is not playing well. So, I would say let's just give the guy a little bit more time, but definitely clock is ticking. Honest Abe says Jovic or Tammy would cook in this team. Well, they would definitely have a different sort of attacking opportunity available to them because they would be the out and out finishers. I would say Jovic I'd probably miss a little bit more than Tammy. I think Jovic was a good finisher. And he had those bursts where he was, scoring some pretty good goals, but it still wasn't consistent enough. I think this is a little bit of a looking at the past with rose-colored glasses, because the amount of times I used to get frustrated with Jovic for not finishing was also pretty regular, but it wasn't as bad as Santi, that's for sure. Santi has been a tough watch. Atakame with the cross in. Atakame with a nice flat ball in, I gotta say. Could have fallen for Pulisic. Oh my god, I feel like every comment is the same about the 40 million on Nkunku. But I get it. He's the one starting and didn't really do anything today. Josh ACM7 says, if we fail to win the Campeonato, the blame should go mainly to management. Absolutely atrocious use of funds on Santi, Estupinian, Nkunku, and the Winter to name a few. Zero quality depth. Oof, Fikayo should have finished that. Pavlovic tried to. Modric, Fofana on the edge of the box. There's Pulisic. Can't really do much there. Oh my god. What is this Stupinian doing? Look at Pulisic running. 97 minutes in. He's still running like a maniac. And the stats just came out that Pulisic is actually the one who's run the most today. So, hustle never goes away for this guy. But he hasn't played very well today. Has to be said. But no one has. Fofana. Estupinian. 2 minutes to go. Yeah, I think this game's done. Yeah, maybe I will come back to this comment after. I don't know, after full time, because this is a proper debate topic. But anyways, let me just take it now. I think no matter what, every season's result has to fall on the management. I think that's a bit of a given, though. If you play well, management gets credit. If your team finishes in 8th place, they get blame. If you finish in 2nd place, they won't get as much blame. I think for the ownership group, for significant portions of the club from a managerial side, after finishing 8th last season, after losing a bunch of money, potential revenue, I think just making top 4 will be the first step that they'll be like, okay, you know what? We can breathe a bit. Okay, something happened. Something decent happened. So I think that is definitely step 1, is finishing and getting back into the Champions League, going back into that type of contention, making that kind of revenue and using it back to buy better players. Now, when you say if we fail to win the Campeonato, you mean if they finish in 2nd place? Would you blame the management? Yeah, it's fair to say that, hey, you know what? Some of the moves that were made were maybe not the best. Like Nkunku. Like maybe Santi in the past. They did try to get rid of Santi, though. Let's not forget that. It just didn't work out. I think, if anything, you kind of give... maybe you have to give management some credit for foreseeing that the Santi move wasn't really going to change much. And they were trying to move on from him 6 months in from actually having signed him. They were trying to offload him in the summer. They didn't wait for a single game to kick off this season. So that would have offloaded him like 5 months into his tenure at Milan. So even the stadium is starting to empty out because the fans, they're actually Milan fans. Yeah, nothing comes out from that either. And that's it. That's full time. Well, there it is, guys. That's full time. The first loss that I've seen Milan play, the first loss that I've seen is since the Cremonese game, the opening game of the season. I haven't really seen them lose this season. But then again, I don't think this one's going to give me a lot of pause for concern, because you've played Napoli before, you've beaten them, you've played Inter, you've played a bunch of these teams, the top teams in the league, you've beaten all of them, and you're sitting in 2nd place, you're sitting 1 point behind top spot, so this is not going to make me very angry or upset. Maybe it should, but it doesn't, maybe because they won it just 8-9 months ago, or whatever, 12 months ago, so it doesn't really bother me as much. I do think part of, what you could potentially, even blame this on is the fact that, let me actually wait for some more people to come in. Some of you guys trickle in a little bit slower. So let's wait for a few people to come in. But yeah, I think part of the reason I would actually say is potentially could be that these guys have played a lot of good football, at least against the top sides this season, sitting in 2nd place, a point off of top. That tires them out. And then you're going to make them fly all the way to Saudi Arabia. They have to do all the promotional activity. And then they have to play in a tournament that they already won about a year ago. And they didn't really seem to at any point did they have a lot of passion to want to win the game. Right or wrong, what I'm saying is it seems like even the coach's focus, he didn't even bring on Modric to like the 75th minute. He was already down 2-0 at that point. So I think structurally, it seems like there wasn't a lot of, I want to hesitate. I kind of hesitate to say this like this, but I do get the sense that maybe not a lot of importance was given to today's game. But then when I look at it on the flip side, man, Rahmani is still crying about his elbow. Dude, get off the field. Stop moaning and bitching like a baby. Get off the field. You won the game. Stop whining as if you're perfect all game. You kicked one of our guys too. Chill out. The flip side on that is that the prize money for winning this tournament is 11 million euros. That's quite a bit. I think winning the Serie A gets you what? Winning the Serie A from a prize money standpoint gets you maybe 60 to 70 million. That's playing 38 games over a course of 9 months gets you 70 million. Here you could make whatever the math would be, a seventh of that. Sorry, my fractions are terrible. But you would get 1/7 of that from playing 2 games. So that's not too bad. Yeah. So I guess, there was 11 million euros to be won here that Milan doesn't win. Maybe it would have changed how our winter transfer would have gone too, potentially. But they don't pick up the right result. It's disappointing for the crowd there probably in Saudi Arabia, because it's very evident that there was a Milan crowd. I don't really think they even cheered a single goal that Napoli scored. If anything, I felt like, the Modric entrance and every time Modric touched the ball, there was more cheering in the crowd than when Napoli even scored their goals. So, yeah, so that was that. But I would say that there was a section of the fan base that we're talking about that you'd rather have the team focus on playing Serie A games, rather than, getting distracted from the Supercoppa and Coppa Italia, focus on Serie A instead. But that was a thing that I sort of already talked about, but there are some people that are going to be joining in after full time that I did want to point out is that when you're playing in Supercoppa, you're only playing 2 games. It's not really much of a distraction, It would be a distraction if it's like the Coppa Italia, you keep playing it, every few weeks, you keep playing it in the middle of the week. But this is just 2 matches, and you get a break from Serie A. Now, from 18th, it's 18th today. Milan won't even play their next game till the 28th of December. So they get like 10 days off. So if they had won today and they'd won on Monday, they would have won a trophy. They would have still not gotten, it wouldn't have been a long time away. They wouldn't have gotten as tired per se, because they still would have had till the 28th to play their next game. And they would have walked out of this with, 10 million plus euros in prize money. So, not good. But the team did not look motivated at all today to do anything. I got to say that. To me, at no point. I'm going to take this comment from Persian Skeptic because it's been sitting here for a while. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate the generosity. Good to see you too. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll be back. I can give you guys a little bit of an update. I am right now in India. I'm not in Italy anymore. I am now going to be going back to Toronto, where I will be for maybe a couple of months at least. I would say I want to create content from my studio, go back home for a little bit. Unfortunately, it's going to be during winter time, but go back home for a bit, and then I'm going to go back to Milan to close off the season. So it's going to be a busy season for me, busy work-life balance, everything, all that. But yeah, I'm in India right now because I did have a bit of a family emergency that I had to tend to. But let's get into some of your comments. Sun says, oh my God, AC Milan are the worst. Oh, we'll start from there. Brandon says, how people crap on Pulisic is crazy to me. He didn't play as well today, but effort never drops off, and I think he's allowed a game or two where he's not contributing to goals, 2 goals. Brandon, I think what some fans, especially the Pulisic fans, have to sort of rewire in themselves also is that players just get criticized. It happens all the time. And Pulisic is not going to be any different. Fans are still going to get annoyed when he doesn't play his best football, and that is okay. It's not a personal attack. It's not a conclusionary comment that he's not good. Everybody knows how important he is to this team, and he did not play well today, and he's going to get criticized for that. Because the more he plays, the better that he plays, the more goals that he scores, the more his importance and his value goes up to the team. And again, the more his importance goes up to his team. So when you're playing in a knockout tournament of 2 games, and he is not the man, because by scoring goals and getting assists, he becomes the man. And if in a big game, in this kind of a game, he's not the man, he's going to get criticized. That's okay. We still love him. He's still arguably 3 most important players on the team. So I think it's okay for people to, criticize Pulisic in a reasonable manner, at least. This is more important, I think. Sun says, no desire, disastrous perform. But I don't agree with the last part, but definitely did not see a desire from the team today. I did not see a desire. I would consider this a disastrous performance, but I am curious to see if any journalists asked the coach, hey, did you really Was today's game a priority to you? Was it a very important game to you, or was it just something that you kind of wanted to be done with? Because your team never really showed up in terms of its intensity at any point today. And they were playing Napoli. They weren't playing some next team. You know, they were playing a top team in the league, but they didn't really show up the way that they have in Serie A till now. All right. Bunch of comments coming in here. It's 2:40 a.m. here where I am, so I'm gonna probably do this for maybe about another 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna head to bed. Last 3 goals conceded were De Winter, by the way. Cost us 3 points in the league and a cup. I have to say I didn't see the third goal that he conceded, but today's 2 goals, yeah, I'd put that heavily on De Winter. Emmanuel says, you should do the I won't cut my hair unless Milan win 5 games in a row. Yeah. I no. So, yeah, I do know who you're talking about, but yeah, I don't know why he went with 5. That's a tough one. I think Milan would win 5 games in a row much faster than United would, but I'm not going to risk my hairline for that. Thomas says this was an opportunity to win another trophy. Why? Yeah, it was. It was, but they did win it 12 months ago, so I'm not losing sleep over this. I'm just going to be honest. This is not going to be one of those for me. I've never seen Nkunku play again. I never want to see Nkunku play again. Terrible. Every ball he touched went straight back to Napoli. I think that is the criticism that is actually very fair, is that he didn't create anything, but he actually helped Napoli at times. Right? So he didn't actually create any opportunities for Milan. If anything, he just kept gifting the ball back to Napoli. That's a problem that needs a resolution in January for Milan. Now, keep in mind, we only have 1 more game to go. Now, depends when you actually sign somebody in January. But right now, before the winter market opens up, we only have 1 more game to go. So, fingers crossed, we find somebody who can finish chances. Check the 1C says, why did we never try to change sides with crosses to catch them off guard? There was no desire today, man. I don't even want to do a tactical breakdown or attempt to do one. I don't know if that's my strong suit, but I don't even want to attempt to do one because you just didn't feel that intensity from the team at any point today when they were playing. At no point did you feel like, yeah, you know what, we're gonna score a goal, we're gonna equalize. I did feel like maybe they will find a way, but that intensity never translated. Thomas says we need Thiago Silva because Winter cannot play. Yeah, but Thiago Silva is old, man. I mean, I'm okay with that. But yeah, still, I don't know if that's the answer, but I think leadership-wise, that is a great choice. They got 10 days off and still they will play against Verona like they played 10 games in 1 week. No. That's the problem. That's the part that they have to fix. They cannot play the games against the smaller sides like Sassuolo and Pisa. Now they're going to play against Verona. They cannot play it that way where they're going to take their foot off the gas. They have to win. They have to need a bit of a statement win at some point against a small team. Pick up a 3-0 or 4-0. It's been a while. Gellert Zabo says, what do you think about our January? I'm probably not gonna go into that today because it's almost 3 a.m. here. But I'll be making content. You got rumor reel coming up in the winter transfer window. Don't worry about that. Chibueze says, Kush, I told you that Milan is after my life with what I'm seeing. This club is not serious. My God, and Nkunku, I'm really fuming, I think is what you meant to say. I'm really filming. Well, I don't know. Yeah, this club wasn't serious today. I'll just agree with you. Brandon is saying, I think criticism is fair. I'm more talking about people who think he's terrible and shouldn't be playing in a top league. Not a reasonable take. Anybody who thinks that Pulisic shouldn't be playing in a top league and is terrible is, in my opinion, an idiot. That didn't come out right. Let me say it again. I think is an idiot because he's a really, really good player. And I was one of those guys who was like, why are we bringing him in? He's completely turned me around. Like, I fight you before U.S. men's national team fans used to go after me. They're like, no, you're a hater. You're from Canada, whatever. And now I fight with them when he doesn't play the Gold Cup, and I'm okay with him not playing. I defend him now. I interviewed the guy. I talked to the guy. He's super, super nice, man. He's a really, really kind guy. And anybody who thinks he's terrible is a fool because he's a very good player. And I just hope he renews and he doesn't need to go and prove that in the Premier League or something. Just stay here, bro, and hang out with us. I did talk about the Mercato. No spamming, guys. Sun says the cracks are starting to show. Such an unbalanced team. We keep spending 40 million on average. How about just one buy or two 70 million players and build a team around them? But that's kind of what we're doing, though, right? Those are it's just they haven't looked good. You know, Santi Jimenez was a 30-something million buy, and he hasn't really looked good. But in fairness, at Feyenoord, he was scoring goals. Yeah, it's not Serie A. It's a weaker league for sure, but there isn't a resistance to spending money, but there can definitely be a criticism of who's being bought. That's for sure. Canis, can I quickly get your thoughts on Fulkrug? We did talk about it a lot in today's video, so I will keep it very short. Has experience, and would be cheap, and sometimes that works. It worked with Giroud. It worked with other players. It has worked with Modric till now, although not comparing the two, obviously. But sometimes bringing a player of experience can help. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Let's see if that's the only one that they bring on, but I'm okay with it. Some blame has to go to Allegri. He saw how the winter flopped against Sassuolo. He could have simply switched Tomori to center. This is the conversation that we did have in the stream earlier too. And the only thing that I said was that, switching Tomori to the middle would have been a double switch then, in a way, in essence, because Tomori usually plays on the right, Pavlovic on the left, and Gabbia in the middle. Now, if you switch out Gabbia for the winter, he has one role responsibility to fill in. Whereas Tomori can continue to do what he usually does, and Pavlovic can continue to do what he usually does. But if you switch Tomori to the middle, now Tomori has to play differently than he usually does. And Tomori's actually having a good season on the right. Compared to what he has had over the last 2 seasons, he's actually playing well on the right. So do you really want to make that double switch? But yeah, in hindsight, because you can see 2 goals, maybe you should have. But I do understand why he felt like, hey, I'm going to trust the winter with the keys of the middle of the back line. It just didn't work out. The Rise says, honestly, I still believe that Nkunku can get back in his best form if he can find his position on the pitch. Right now, it seems he's just adapting to something that doesn't really suit him. I think this is a very fair comment. And I think this is an important one. He was playing really well during his Leipzig days. Did he play for Salzburg before that? No, I think I'm thinking of someone else. He played really well during his Leipzig days. He was also fairly good at times for Chelsea. When they had injury issues, he would step in. He was scoring goals too. He just wasn't scoring as many goals in the Premier League, but in the other competitions. But he went through a bit of a phase where he was scoring a bunch of goals there too. So I don't think this is a player that we can just completely write off and say, you know what, not good. As the Rise 7 here says, he just needs to find his space on the pitch. But the critique that you can level on him is that you got to at least control the ball. Today, anything that hit him was like hitting a brick wall. It would just bounce right back to you. So that criticism, I think, is fair, but I would still give him time. San says, Kush, great content from you. Thanks for all your work, making great content. I appreciate it. I haven't put out anything for the last 2 weeks. Had a bit of a family situation going on, but I will be getting back to it probably in a few days. Not quite yet. All right, I think that should do it for today, because let me just take this one. Emmanuel says, if we don't win the Serie A, we will go bankrupt. Kind of. You mean financially, literally, or you just mean emotionally and stress-wise? Because financially, we won't go bankrupt. Don't worry if we don't win Serie A. I think we do need to make top 4. That will help the accounting books a lot, but bankruptcy is not really a concern that I have with this ownership. Oh yeah, about that. Everything okay, Kush? I hope your family's doing okay. Yes, family's doing a lot better now. Still dealing with a few things, but better, I would say. All right, guys. I think that should do it. 2:45 a.m. here. Time to go to bed probably for me. About 4,000 of you guys tuned in. Let's see this. All right, so yeah, all right, that's okay. Not a lot of likes today, but I didn't really even ask because it's okay. I just wanted to watch the game and just see you guys in the comments after some time. It had been a while. Yeah, so we're going to leave it at that. Tough loss. Just time to focus on Serie A. My bigger concern is just please stop dropping points against the smaller sides. Just focus on that. Don't worry about the Supercopa. It's okay. Take the rest for the next 10 days. Come back rejuvenated. Take it as an opportunity. Move on. Get back to Italy. Get the rest. And please focus and do not drop points against the bigger sides. This team needs to tighten up now because you're reaching that midway point of the season where you're actually in title contention. You want to hold on to that position and start building on the smaller teams. Start building on those results. As always, from my side, if you haven't already, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, @FootballKush. Obviously, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And thank you for your support. Thank you for your kind comments, DMs about my family and all that. I appreciate you guys. I will be back to making content, maybe more regular stuff, closer towards the end of December. For now, I'm just going to do live stream whenever there's a game, but there's no game for the next 10 days. So I'll see you guys in a few days. As always, Forza Milan. Grazie mille. Ciao.